Welcome to another episode of Week 13. And usually, I would go right at it, probably sometimes Sunday, depending on the vibe of the games, sometimes Monday, sometimes Tuesday. But um, there's been so much stuff going on within the last 72 hours. There's no way I could do the show the way it had to be done right away. There's so much stuff that has happened. Um, So before we start the show officially, I want you guys to listen to this clip from Deion Sanders because this is how I am right now when it comes to my team. I just believe, and then I'm going to go, and I'm not even going to talk about the game because the game was a disaster. But I just want you guys to listen to this clip from Deion, and then I'm going to want you all to listen. I won't say clip, sorry. Let me say it properly. Listen to this Deion Sanders soundbite, and then I want you to listen to Kevin O'Connell's soundbite. And I'm going to give you guys my take on how I feel about the situation right now. Because I'm at a point where, as a fan, as a football fan, you got to do better. But just listen to the clip, and then I'm going to continue on. Listen to these two clips, and then I want you guys to listen to my take. So let's get to it.
Do you think that these schools and fan bases have lost the sense of patience in the process of building something?
Well, there's no one patience in this world. How do we exude patience when we could call up right now and get a pizza delivery right here? That you could call and get a ride waiting outside for you. Everything is expeditious in this country. Everyone wants the quick fix, the quick things. You got mail order brides too, right? You get married, right away. You could get a BBL. You could come in here flat as I don't know what, and leave thick as a Snicker. So this is a different country that we live in, man. Ain't nobody got no patience no more. I understand that, and I don't either. I don't have patience as well. I want things done right now because I'm used to getting up there working, putting in the work, and you want that result from the work you put in. It don't oftentimes work like that. That's a great question. I appreciate that.
That's what I told him after the game is this is great experience for him. It won't get harder than going to Seattle for your first start against that defense. And he's such a competitor and wants to obviously come out here and lead this team to a win. But I told him that's great experience and an unbelievable learning op, knowing what it felt like, knowing how you were, seeing it and maybe, even able to, as you get maybe more experience, which Max is going to play a long time in this league, you'll start to be able to, the game will slow down a little bit, even though he is what we believe to be a fast processor.
I got to ask a question. And it's funny because as a football fan, it's annoying. It really is. There's one thing, everybody has their struggles. Everybody goes through their ups and downs. There's the pains and this and that. There's all sorts of stuff that happens in football. When you're rebuilding, you could tell when the team is rebuilding. Like, you understand the mechanics of a team rebuilding. It just you could see it. Most people with common sense could see a team rebuilding. It's just obvious. But what annoys me is when a team has a good roster and they decide to make a change at quarterback, knowing it's not for the better, but it's a risk. But what makes it even worse, it's not even that it's a risk. Most people with common sense know it's a bad move. You go from quarterbacks like Case Keenum, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, who could throw the ball. They're not great. They're average, but they have an arm. To a kid who has never played that style of offense. And I'm not going to cut J.J. McCarthy. This is not cut J.J. McCarthy day. This is reality check day. You decide that you want to make this decision. And I'll say this. Kevin O'Connell's done a phenomenal job being a motivator, great with quarterbacks, inspiring them. But this is not an inspiring situation. This is a business. Patience is over for me. As a fan, I want to see results. I'm not saying I expect them to win the Super Bowl. That is what the objective is. But this is ridiculous. What you guys saw from Max is indicative to exactly what I've been saying. You got it wrong. stop talking shite and admit that you're wrong. He has yet to say, hey guys, me and Kwesi, we made a mistake. But yet you make that statement and you say all this garbage to try to convince people. Who are you convincing? I mean, tickets right now apparently are cheap right now. From what I know and from what I've seen, tickets are cheap right now for the game. If you want to go on StubHub right now, you can get Section 112 for $269. It should not be $269. The ticket should be $50 with a full meal. And I don't mean a hot dog and a drink. I'm talking about a steak dinner. You're not paying. Why is anybody going to go watch these guys play? If you don't have a quarterback to throw to those weapons that you have in Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson, and Jones, and Mason, and the rest of those guys, then what are you doing? Why these tickets shouldn't even be sold? And then on top of that, to add more insult to injury, they come out and say they waived Adam Thielen. No, Adam Thielen asked to be cut because he saw the situation. He saw the writing on the wall. They did not use him. Adam Thielen is a good Swiss Army knife. He makes those big third down plays. I've been watching Adam Thielen from the day he walked into Minnesota. He doesn't need 1,000 yards. But if you look at his highlights, all the big catches was Adam Thielen. Jalen Naylor is great too, but you're not utilizing him. How can you utilize somebody when you don't have a quarterback to throw the ball to? So when I hear people say, oh, he got waived, no, he has to get cut. He saw the writing on the wall. I'm going to say this again, and I'm not going to continue on this too much longer because we have a show to do, a real show to do. I am done with talking about Minnesota. We will not talk about Minnesota on this podcast for the remaining of the season until I see something, until I hear those. And they don't have to admit it. But I tell you right now, if you're looking at this, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi, don't be surprised if one of them gets fired. Because people want results now. You guys see it in the NBA all the time. Coaches get fired after winning a championship after a year. This is not a patience business. This is a results business. So lay off the BS and let's get down to business. Now, folks, before we start the show, now I want you guys to listen to some highlight clips. And then we're going to officially start the show. My rant is over. I am just so done with this. This is like Kevin O'Connell looks so stupid right now. I like him, but he just looks like an idiot. Now to the clips. Now let's do this.
Mariota to the back. Oh, he caught it! Burks! Unbelievable touchdown!
Goal blitz coming. Gino gets rid of it. Incomplete. Oh, wait a minute. Bowers caught it! You gotta be kidding me!
56 yards out. His career long is 58. And Folk's kick is good! He's a folk hero at MetLife Stadium. Fake to Hall. And now Taylor airing it out. It is caught! Mitchell! Touchdown!
Coaches sealed their fate yesterday. It's 10-8. 10-8 in the third quarter. 4th and 1. Your own 33. You're going to go for it and have your tight end to get the belly fumbles? Get up. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. I know owners of sports teams that would have fired these people on the spot yesterday. Enough of this. You got to be out of your mind to watch this garbage. The Browns are garbage.
From nonsense, only when I'm unresponsive. Gosh, it's chilly. Funny how fast the sunlight swept over the city. Now still fireflies like the sky and moonlight accompanies the plight.
Now we're going to start the show, and we should. First order of business to start the Pick Six podcast. I'm going to go to, I got to go to Cincinnati and Baltimore because I was just like, what? What's going on here? Lamar Jackson just looked out of place in that game. He just looked out of place. Since he won 32-14, Burrow came in very smooth, did his thing, averaging 5 yards a pass, coming back from an injury. He was only sacked once. He was 24 for 46, 261, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Burrow's just getting his arm back unwarming. He's never had arm issues. So in terms of like, him throwing the ball, he's always going to throw that rock. I mean, 46 times for Joe Cool is normal. But the fact that the Baltimore defense looked like they were out of place and the Cincy defense looked like they were a top 5 defense. What is going on? And you got Jamar Chase getting seven receptions, 110. I mean, and of course Higgins was out with an injury. Those type of things I look at. I'm looking at this Baltimore team, and I'm looking at it from this perspective. Now you're 6-6. Now the big game next week against Pittsburgh for the division. That's pretty much a division title right there. 6-6. Whoever wins is pretty much going to get a playoff spot, and the rest is history. But what I saw from Baltimore was exactly what I did not expect. I expected that from Baltimore, not from Cincinnati. Joe Burrow still looking. Listen, if I'm Minnesota, I have to say this, guys. If I'm Minnesota, please think about Joe Burrow, because this Cincinnati situation is not going to get better. And this guy is thrown to Justin Jefferson and LSU. I could smell something in Cincy. They're not going to make the playoffs. So if you're Minnesota, you got the roster, you got one of the best defensive coaches in all of football. Please make a decision. But that game just had me like, wow, Joe Burrow and the Cincy defense. Next game, Green Bay and Detroit. Wow. Jordan Love actually looked normal in that game. And if you guys noticed, I have to go back to Minnesota's defense. Go look at the quarterback stats against the Minnesota defense. Sam Darnold threw no touchdowns in that last game. Jordan Love did not play well in that last game. If you guys notice, it's not the defense. Anyways, let me get back to this. Let me forget about this. But I just want to show you guys how defenses really show, just like with Cleveland's defense. The Packers go into Detroit Thanksgiving and they win 31-24. And my takeaway is Detroit is just going through the bumps. All Detroit needs to do is get into the playoffs. And I'm going to talk about the playoff situation at the end of the show, because it's going to be very, very interesting going into the playoffs for a lot of these teams. The Super Bowl's wide open. Jordan Love, 18 for 32, 34, 4 touchdowns. Played smooth, wasn't sacked once. Detroit? Are you serious? We've never seen that. Jared Goff, 20 for 26, 256, 2 touchdowns, no picks, sacked 3 times. My takeaway, Jahmyr Gibbs, after having that big game to win that overtime game the previous week, was okay, 20 for 68. And of course, the big news, of course, Amon St. Brown got hurt. I saw it, I was like, oh no. Jameson Williams had to carry the load, 7 receptions, 144, 1 touchdown. Devontae Wicks did his thing, though, and so did Christian Watson. Those two guys were playing, and Romeo Doubs had a touchdown. This division is a 3-team race, okay? Green Bay, Detroit, and the Bears. And I'll tell you right now, all 3 of these teams are probably going to make the playoffs. Because the team that's 4-8, they're done. They don't have a quarterback. This is Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, and Jordan Love. Those are quarterbacks. When you have a quarterback in your division, you can win games. The other team in that division doesn't have a quarterback, so that's why they're 4-8. The team that the coach does not take any accountability for, or the GM. Pathetic. Anyways, that was a good game. Next order of business, San Francisco and Cleveland. You guys know it. You guys know it. You gotta go. You gotta go there. It's time for another edition of Santa Claus, the gift that keeps on giving. But this time he was giving it because his offensive play calling was fantastic. Brock Purdy was calm this time. He wasn't great. 16 for 29, 168, 1 touchdown, sacked once. Him and Shedeur Sanders actually had similar stats. Shedeur was 16 for 25, 149 average. He was throwing the ball very well, got sacked 3 times. That offensive line in Cleveland is pathetic. He had one touchdown. He was good. He was all right. He's going against a team that's constantly competing for a Super Bowl until they get to the championship, and we all know what happens there. But Judikins did his thing again. McCaffrey was okay. You know, Harold Fannin Jr. had that one catch that was nice. George Kittle. My takeaway from this is Cleveland doesn't want Shedeur Sanders. They don't want him. You could see it. The play calling, I don't know if it's just the way things are set. Again, another coach, Kevin Stefanski, not taking accountability for the fact that the guy that he wanted sucks. He sucks. He's not good. He's 5'2". He can't see past the offensive line, and he's not good. The other guy is good. He's mechanically going to get better. He has a lot of work to do, but he didn't do anything to lose that game. Frisco is a top-tier team. They've been a top-tier team for the last 7-8 years. They're going to win games like this. They're supposed to win games like this. Santa Claus is going to win these games. He's going to get to a Super Bowl. Then he's going to do what he does. He's going to give it away because he's the gift that keeps on giving. Next order of business. We're going to go to KC in Dallas. Because right now, KC is on the ropes when it comes to playoffs. They're hanging by a thread. Dallas, again, finding ways to win. 31-28. Got to give Dak some credit. Like, I like Dak. I've always been a fan of him just because of the things that he could do and what he's gone through personally. You know, he's gone through so much personally. You got to cheer for a guy like that. I know you guys hate him. This is not about Dallas for me. This is just about the human being. Screw you guys and you media people who continue to just trash on him because you guys have no sense of the game. You don't care about life. You're just about your ego and your clicks and how many followers you have on social media. You guys are annoying. I'm happy for Dak. I'm happy he's having a good year. He's 32 for 39, 320, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He didn't get sacked once. Mahomes did his thing too. 23 for 34, 261, 4 touchdowns. He got sacked 3 times, but he made some crazy plays. And whether you like Mahomes or whether you like Dak, these are top 10 quarterbacks. Quarterbacks like that, you have a chance. So, you know, it was a good game. I mean, there's some miscues there with Dak, and there's some miscues there with Mahomes, but it was just one of those good. And you know something? The Thanksgiving games were actually good. These were actually good things because the last few years, the Thanksgiving games have been absolutely atrocious. So to see something like this was absolutely a pleasure to watch. So I have no issues with that at all. And I feel like the NFL season is really picking up and things are getting really tight for some of these teams. So yeah, that's what it is. Next game now, the Friday night game, Friday afternoon game, folks. Eagles and Bears. My takeaway from this, 24-15 Bears. Jalen Hurts, again, I keep saying it over and over. If he throws more than 25 times a game, he's not going to win. That's not his style of play. He threw a pick. He was, had 2 touchdowns, didn't get sacked, but that's not his thing. And Caleb Williams hasn't been playing well either. 154 overall yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He hasn't been playing well, even when, again, he didn't play well against Minnesota when they won. Look at all the stats of the quarterbacks. Again, I'm going to get to that afterwards. But Caleb Williams has been playing okay, but the Bears found a way to win. Cole Kmet had a touchdown. I mean, Kyle ran his tail off. The rushing game, for some reason, destroyed Philly. It destroyed 255 yards between 2 backs. Kyle and DeAndre Swift just ran absolutely just super merit. 281 rushing yards overall. You're not going to win. You're not going to win, Philly. You got rushed out of the building at home, and A.J. Brown, I'm sure he was happy. He don't give a crap. He got his 10 receptions, 132, 2 touchdowns. He was happy. But when Jalen Hurts has to throw that ball more than 25 times a game, I've said it. I've watched the games. Statistically, numbers prove it. He doesn't win those games. So if you force Jalen Hurts to throw that ball, folks, you, you have a chance to win that game. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. But I'll say this. This is going to be a very interesting next um, 6 weeks in the NFL, because the NFL is just one of those leagues where you just see things happen. You could see it. You could tell. And there's just a mindset that you're just like, okay, this is going to be real. And it will be. It will be. You all that are listening to my show and have supported my show, and I'll tell you this right now. The NFL playoffs are going to be something of historical proportion because there's going to be some shockers that are going to be like, wait a minute, what the hell? So, but yeah, it's going to be something for the eyes to see, for the eyes to enjoy. Last game on the Pick Six, before I go to all the other stuff, there's so much stuff to talk about, so much more. The Bills and the Steelers. The Bills, again, looked flat to start the game, but they found a way. Josh Allen still not playing well. Don't know what's going on. He was 15 for 23, 123, one touchdown, one pick. He wasn't sacked. Aaron Rodgers, 10 for 21, 117. He has the broken left hand, but I don't know. But James Cook, that was the difference right there. James Cook, 32 carries, 144. I guess Joe Brady wanted to make the Pittsburgh defense look like nothing, which at the end, I'm going to get to that after that. He absolutely ran Rumshock. Buffalo ran a combined 249 yards on the ground. They just did whatever they wanted on the ground. They didn't care. They just did exactly what they wanted to do, and they did it. So Bills 26-7. They go to 8-4. Steelers are now tied with Baltimore, which is going to set up the Week 14 showdown in Baltimore Sunday. Winner pretty much is going to take the division as far as I'm concerned. So keep your eyes on that. And I'm going to talk about that prior to the game. I'm going to have a quick take on that, probably about that. But my takeaway from these two teams is Pittsburgh, whatever they need to do, they're going to have to find a way. Both Pittsburgh and Baltimore are reeling right now, not playing well. Buffalo finding ways to win. Some weeks they look horrible, like they did against Houston, then they find ways to win. Buffalo knows what's going on. They're 3 games behind New England because they also lost a game. But is Buffalo in trouble? They just got to get hot at the right time. So that's what it is, folks. That's the 6 games as usual. But we're not done. We're not done. First of all, let me give some shout outs because you guys know I like to do my shout outs to certain players that I like. I'm a Bryce Young guy, okay? And I've always been a Bryce Young guy. I cheer for this kid because he's a good kid. He's a good young man. Everybody shits on him, excuse the language. I said it before and I'll say it again. This kid has it. He just needs time. Like, he's not J.J. McCarthy. You could see the potential in Bryce Young. I could be patient with Bryce Young because I know what he could do. I saw him in college in Alabama. I know what he could do, and he did it. It's just one of those things. It's like what he could do, and you could see it. It's not like it's you're blinded by it. You could see what he could do, and it just annoys me when I see things where there are situations where people are saying, well, he's not good. He was great in college. Some quarterbacks are not great in college, but they're good in the NFL. Some players are horrible in college. They're mediocre, but they're great in the NFL. It's all about sometimes timing, system, all that stuff, whatever. But I'll say this. Bryce Young is always welcome to play in Minnesota. I just love this kid. They're 7-6. They're right there. They won 31-28 against a hot Rams team. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of the stuff, but he threw for 3 touchdowns. And the touchdown passes he had, he was just on point. He was just right there. So shout out to Bryce Young. And another guy who always finds ways to win wherever he goes. He did it in Buffalo. He did it in Baltimore. And once again for the Jets, Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor. What more can you say about Tyrod? Another situation. And I love it. Like, I see it. And, it's one of those things where, Tyrod Taylor is a guy who everywhere he goes, he's ready to go. No excuses, no crying, no talking ish. He's just ready to go. And I'm telling you, the Jets are going to win a couple more games with him. They're going to win a few more games. You could see it. If you watch football, you could tell. You'd have to be stupid not to think that. So shout out to Tyrod Taylor, and it's going to be an interesting end of the season next 6 weeks because the Jets are going to spoil some teams' opportunities. But I'm now going to go to the playoff picture because I have to say, for the first time in about 5 years, there is no decisive winner to win the Super Bowl. And this is why I don't do picks. I don't do picks at the beginning of the year. I don't do these predictions. There's these stupid media marks and all these goofballs who think, oh, yeah, I think this team's going to win. The NFL is the most unpredictable league in North America. It's the most unpredictable league in North America, guys. If you don't know that, why do you watch the game? If you had told me in August that the Patriots and the Bears, Broncos and the Rams, Jaguars and the Eagles would be number 1, 2, 3 in their conferences, number 1, 2, 3 in the respective NFC, where the Eagles are the number 3 and not number 1, I would have told you you're lying. Because right now, the top 3 seeds are the Patriots, Broncos, and Jaguars. That's AFC. The Bears, Rams, and the Eagles. The Eagles is the only team that you would think would have been in that top 3. If anybody says that they saw this being the schematic right now going into the playoffs at this moment, you're lying. This is why I stay away from podcasters and TV shows now that speak. The only guy right now that speaks and I actually like what he says, and he doesn't give a crap and talks about what he says and how he feels, even if they're good or bad. They've been bad for a long time, is Tony Rizzo in Cleveland. And can you imagine that? When you're a natural podcaster, you don't have time to babysit and lie and try to get clicks and try to be everywhere. You heard me at the beginning of the show about my Vikings. I don't care. They're shit right now. Excuse my language again. They blundered on the quarterback situation. What do all these 6 teams have in common? They have a quarterback. They have a quarterback. Everybody in this playoff schematic right now has a quarterback. The Ravens, the Bucks, the Chargers, Seahawks, Colts, Packers, Bills, and 49ers. They all have quarterbacks. And can you believe that as of right now, the Lions are out of the playoffs? The Lions are in the 8th spot right now. Can you imagine that? So let's just keep it real. Like, it is what it is. And I'll tell you guys right now, the Bills are the most dangerous 7 seed, and the 49ers. The 49ers and Bills are both at 7 seeds in their respective conferences. They're the most dangerous 7 seeds right now. If the playoffs were to start today, I would not want to play Santa Claus or Josh Allen. I wouldn't want to play them. Santa Claus going into LA, I could see Santa Claus winning that. Bills going into Denver, I could see the Bills winning that. Absolutely. So you guys better hope that Santa Claus in Buffalo gets out of that 7th seed, or else we're going to see 1 or 2 seeds being eliminated by midway in the playoffs. So, folks, go online, check NFL.com/standings/playoff picture. You guys all play on your phones. Go check it out. I'm telling you, this NFL playoffs is going to be epic. So that's it for the show, folks. I'm done. Another episode, week 13. Finally, it's in the books. But finally, after all the news, all this, all that, we finally have week 13. I've wrapped up week 13. So, folks, week 14 is going to be epic. We got some games that are going to be very intriguing. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Dallas at Detroit, that's a playoff game. Pittsburgh at Baltimore, that's a playoff game. Indy and Jacksonville, division for a division spot. The Jets playing Miami. You might not think about that, but I'll tell you right now, if Tyrod can win that game, you might see McDaniel get fired. They got to stop playing with him. He's done. And Buffalo's got to beat the Bengals. The Bengals have won in Buffalo. Joe Cool is ready. So it's going to be a very intriguing week 14 game. So keep your eyes out. Chicago, Green Bay, that's another division game. KC's got to win at Houston. They got to win against Houston. Those are one of the teams they're catching. Because right now, if you look at the playoff picture right now for KC, it's not looking good for KC. So there's so much into this playoff situation that is so critical going into the week 14 games, which start tomorrow. And, right now you look at it and you say, wow, like I said with KC right now, they have to beat Houston. Houston is ahead of them. They're 8th and KC's 10th. KC loses to the Texans, it's a wrap. Because everybody else ahead of them, they've lost to. They've lost to the Broncos. They've lost to Buffalo. So the playoff picture, folks, is going to be great. It's the NFL. And for those of you that have been listening to other podcast shows and listening to these guys talk out of their asses and get emotional and make these stupid predictions at the beginning of the year, it's why you don't make predictions. This NFL playoffs is going to be wide open. We are definitely going to have a new champion. It's going to be fantastic. But before playoffs, we got 6 more weeks of exciting action. And of course, you got more Pick 6 action. Folks, that's it. I'm signing off. I'm out. Peace.